Chapter 2 Adaptations in Plants.
Every living beings show peculiar characteristic. The production of new individuals from their parents is known as reproduction or multiplication. It is because of reproduction that life continues from one generation to generation. As we know that flower performs the function of reproduction in plants. Flowers changes into fruits which have seeds in them. Seeds germinate to produce new plants. Thus, flowers are the reproductive plant. The other parts of the plant, such as roots, stems, and leaves, are known as vegetative part of plants. Modes of reproduction. Plants exhibit two types of reproduction, namely asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction in plants. Different methods of asexual reproduction are budding. Microscopic organisms such as yeast reproduce asexually by budding. In this process, a small bulb-like projection comes out from the cell. It is called bud. Fission. Fission is a process of asexual reproduction in which an individual divides into two or more new individuals. Binary fission is common in amoeba. Fragmentation. Fragmentation is a form of asexual reproduction in which the adult organisms just break into two or more fragments. Spore formation. This is the most common method of asexual reproduction in most of the fungi and bacteria. Vegetative propagation. Reproduction from vegetative parts such as root, stem, leaves, and buds without the help of reproductive organ is called vegetative propagation. For example, sugarcane, rose, strawberry, jasmine, bougainvillea, etc. are grown by vegetative reproduction method. Roots. The plants such as dahlia, sweet potato, and asparagus have swollen roots. Stems. Plants like potato, ginger, and onion can be obtained from their modified underground stems. Artificial method of vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is a simple, fast, and less expensive method of plant propagation. It is therefore commonly used in horticulture and agriculture. The techniques used are stem cutting, layering, grafting, and tissue culture. Stem cutting. In this method, cutting of a healthy young branch of a plant having leaf buds is planted in the moist soil. Layering. In this process, a young branch is bent towards the ground and covered with moist soil, forming a layer. After some time, roots develop from the covered part. Grafting. This is a common method used in horticulture to develop new varieties of ornamental plants and fruit trees. In this method, a bud or cutting with buds of one plant, called the season, is kept over the cut stem of another plant, called the stalk. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. The reproductive organ of the following plant is the flower. A flower may be unisexual or bisexual. The reproductive parts of a flower. The reproductive parts, organs of a flower are described below. The male reproductive part of a flower, stamen. Stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. Each stamen consists of long, slender stalk called the filament and a swollen part, anther. The female reproductive part of a flower, pistil. Pistil is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is broader at the base and tapers at the top. It consists of stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary contains ovules which contain eggs. Pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the stamen to the stigma of the flowers of some plant or different plant of the same type is called pollination. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination, and cross-pollination. Fertilization. The pollen grains reach the stigma during pollination. The pollen grains forms a tube called pollen tube. The pollen tube grows through the style and reaches one of the ovules in the ovary. Pollen tube contains two male gametes. One of the male gametes passes through the pollen tube and reaches the egg in the ovule.